Solving systems of linear equations by graphing. We have two key vocabulary terms, system of linear equations and solution of a system of linear equations. The first word, a system of linear equations, is a set of two or more linear equations with the same variables. So for example, y equals x minus 1 and y equals 2x plus 7. So the first one is our equation 1, and our second one is equation 2. Solution of a system of linear equations is an ordered pair that is a solution of each equation in the system. So example, 4, 7, or negative 3, negative 5. So it is written as an ordered pair. So example number 1, solve a system of linear equations by graphing. Letter A says to solve the system by graphing. So we have two equations, y equals 2x plus 5 and y equals negative 4x minus 1. So there are three steps that you want to follow while you're solving a system of linear equations when graphing. Step number 1 is to graph each equation in the same coordinate plane. That's really important to understand, that you want to graph it in the same coordinate plane. And that's because it allows you to see where the lines intersect. Step number 2 is to estimate the point of an intersection. Step number 3 is to check the point from step 2 by substituting. For x and y in each equation. Of the original system. So we have step 1, step 2, and step 3. So we're going to break this down. We're going to start with step number 1. So I'm going to first identify the different parts of the equations, the slope and the y-intercept. So I'm going to label equation 1. I'm sorry, the first equation is equation 1, and the second equation is equation 2. So I'm going to take equation 1, y equals 2x plus 5, and I'm going to identify the slope and the y-intercept. As a reminder, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So my m value is going to be 2, and my b value is going to be 5. And let me make a little correction. That should say plus b. Oop. Okay, so my slope is 2, which actually I needed to say rise divided by run, so 2 divided by 1, so I go up 2 to the right 1. My b value is 5, which I'm going to write as the ordered pair 0, 5. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to graph this. So 0, 5, 1, 2, 3. So I start at the origin, I go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to use my slope of going up 2 to the right 1. Up 2 to the right 1. If you wanted, you could do the inverse. So start at the y-intercept and go down 2 to the left 1. Down 2 to the left 1. And then I'm going to connect my points. Then I'm going to label this y equals 2x plus 5. It's important for you to label your graph so that way you know which equation goes with which graph. The other thing you can do is you can change the colors in which you were writing. So for my next one, I'm going to use purple. Again, this is still step 1. I'm going to take equation number 2. And that is y equals negative 4x minus 1. Just like before, I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. Again, it helps me with identifying my slope and my y-intercept. So my slope is going to be negative 4, which is the same thing as negative 4 divided by 1, which means I go down 4 to the right 1. My y-intercept, well, it doesn't say plus b, it says minus b. So if it helps, you can go back in there and you can put plus negative b. I'm sorry, negative 1. So that leaves me with negative 1, which is written as 0, negative 1. So I'm going to start at the origin, and then I'm going to go 0, I'm going to go down 1. That's my first point. And then my slope tells me to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right 1. Down 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right 1. I could have also gone up 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left 1. Up 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left 1. And then I'm going to draw my line that connects the points. Lastly, I'm going to go in and label my graph. Y equals negative 4x minus 1. Okay, that was all step 1. Now we move on to step 2. Step 2 says to estimate the point of intersection. Well, I believe my point of intersection is at this point right there. So that is at negative 1, 3. Negative 1, 3. Then I have step number 3. It says check the point from step 2 by substituting x and y in each equation of the original system. Okay. So if I have negative 1, 3, that means that x equals negative 1, y equals 3. So I'm going to take equation 1, which is y equals 2x plus 5, and converting that to 3 equals 2 times negative 1 plus 5. 3 equals negative 2 plus 5. 3 equals 3. Check yes. Works for equation number 1. Then we're going to move on to equation 2. Equation number 2 is y equals negative 4x minus 1. So 3 equals negative 4 times negative 1 minus 1. 3 equals 4 minus 1. 3 equals 3. Check yes. So that means that the answer is negative 1, 3. All right, so let's try letter B. For the first equation, I'm going to make the slope equal 1, which is 1 divided by 1. That means I go up 1 to the right 1. And again, I identified this over here. So I put an imaginary 1 in front of the x for y equals mx plus b, just to help me identify that. And it doesn't say plus b, it says -1. So I'm actually going to do plus -1. That helps me in knowing that my y-intercept's 0, -1. So I'm going to plot 0, -1. And then I'm going to go up 1 to the right, up 1 to the right. And then I'm going to connect my points. Lastly, I want to make sure that I label my graph. So that becomes y equals x minus 1. And let's just say I don't have another color. I'm just going to go in here for the equation 2 and make my slope equal, well, I need to put in an imaginary 1 in there. So that means my slope's -1, which is -1 divided by 1. So it goes down 1 every time it goes to the right one. And our b value is 0, 3. So I'm going to start at 0, 3. I'm going to go down 1 to the right one, down 1 to the right one, down 1 to the right one. And I'm going to connect my lines. I'm sorry, I'm going to connect my points with the line. And I'm going to label this graph y equals -x plus 3. And I believe my point is at 2, 1. So now I'm going to check it. So x equals 2, y equals 1. And you know what? I'm actually going to label my graph y equals -x plus 3 to the left to give me more space for my work. And then we're going to do a little bit of check. Okay. So equation 1, y equals x minus 1. So 1 equals 2 minus 1, 1 equals 1, check yes. So far that solution works for the first equation. We want to check for the second equation. So y equals -x plus 3. Instead of y, I'm putting in a 1. Instead of x, I'm putting in a 2. So that becomes 1 equals -2 plus 3. 1 equals 1. Check yes. So that means my solution is at 2, 1. For right now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip letter C. All right, example 2, real life application. A kicker on a football team scores 1 point for making an extra point and 3 points for making a field goal. The kicker makes a total of 8 extra points and field goals in a game and scores 12 points. So we're going to write and solve a system of linear equations to find the number of extra points and the number y of field goals. So x equals extra points, y equals field goals. So we're going to read that first sentence again. A kicker makes a total of 8 extra points and field goals in a game. We don't know how many of each, so this is represented with x plus y equals 8. X extra points, y field goals is a total of 8. Now for the second part, it's saying they score 12 points. Well, what we do know is that it's one extra point. Sorry, each extra point is worth 1, and each field goal is worth 3. So an extra point's worth 1, so 1x plus each field goal is 3, so that's 3y, and we know it's a total of 12. Well, now we have our system of equations. So let's graph them. Well, I'm going to convert this first equation to be y equals. So I would subtract x from both sides. This becomes y equals -x plus 8. So I'm going to draw my point at 0, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to use my slope of going down 1 to the right one, down 1 to the right one. then I can go ahead and draw my line through them. Then I'll label this y equals negative x plus 8. If it helps, I could put my slope was negative 1 over 1, and my y-intercept is at 0, 8. Okay, then for the second equation, I want to make it say y equals as well. Well, in order to do that, I subtract 1x from both sides, and I'm left with 3y equals negative x plus 12. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Gets y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. So my slope equals negative 1/3. My y-intercept is 4. So I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go down 1, 2, 3. Sorry, down 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3. Down 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3. Down 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then I'm going to draw my line. So this intersects at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma 2. That point right there. So 6, comma 2. So x equals 6, y equals 2. So that means that you get 6 extra points and 2 extra field goals.